Wow, I know more about peanuts than I thought I needed to know. My goodness.
I know.
All right, 7 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Nice looking Thursday. Have you ever heard the expression, life leaves clues? Mm-hmm. Life leaves clues. Yep. Okay, so all my life, I'd get a paycheck, and then it would be gone. It would flow in, and it would flow out. It would flow in, and it would flow out. So every single time it flowed out, I would say, damn, there's no money. Now I'm looking back on my life, and I'm realizing I should have built a dam. Then I would have had some money. You see, it's flowing in. Stop it a little bit. Save a little bit of it. That's my little joke to introduce you to our next guest. He is Albert Zdenek. I hope I'm saying his name at least close. Albert Zdenek Jr. His father would appreciate that. His book is called Master Your Cash Flow. Albert is a certified public accountant, a personal financial specialist, and I won't take any more time giving you his other credentials because, well, we kind of listened to Peanut talk a little bit there. Albert, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm great, Larry. How are you doing? And I must say that I also enjoyed the Peanut talk also.
Where are you? Where are you calling from?
Actually, I'm calling from New York City.
All right. Well,
Nice.
thank you for being on the air with us. Yeah, the whole idea of cash flow, I'm pretty good at cash flow. It flows in, flows out. You know, there's a whole bunch of jokes you can make about that, but you've got a way to let it flow in and somehow accumulate.
Well, I think what it is that, I think back to my own life. I think I was probably many years ago in my youth the same way. Money flowed in and flowed out, and sometimes I'd get to the end of the year and do my tax return, and I would think, gee, I made that much? Where is it? And I think that's where people find themselves a great deal today.
It's interesting when people have debts, and they ask themselves the question, should I pay off the debt? Yeah, if I can in one lump sum, or should I pay it off in pieces like a normal mortgage would be? What is the best advice for that, or does it depend on what the loan is for?
Well, the thing about debt is it's basically a very personal and cultural thing here in the United States, especially probably out of the Great Depression in the 1930s. Our grandparents, great-grandparents, and maybe our parents even lived through that. And it scarred them, and to where they felt that anyone who had debt, it was bad. And quite frankly, there is good debt and there's bad debt. So if you can pay off the high credit, rate or high interest rate credit cards, that'd be great. But some people go to where they're paying off their mortgages quickly and other things. And all that does, in the end, if you really run the numbers, it just increases their taxes and, quite frankly, a lot of times makes them work harder in life and more years in life.
Wow. So when did you have your aha moment? When did it make sense to you so that you could change your ways? And how do we apply what you've learned so that we can change our ways?
Well, it's really funny. Again, going back about 30 years ago, I remember I was probably one of those people, grew up in a family that believed debt was bad, and so basically I became a CPA, and by the way, CPAs can tell you what you really did last year and maybe a year in advance, but they don't really look prospectively in the future. But I got myself into trouble. I had too much debt. There was some real estate I owned that was going south, and I was having some financial difficulties. And I was very lucky. There was another CPA mentor of mine who sat me down, who did financial planning, and he took me through some things that really were shocking to me. He started looking at the effects of the decisions you made today in 10 years, in 20 years, in 30 years. And it was stunning to me what something like paying a small amount of debt down now versus putting that into your 401k or other things, what it meant to a person's life, especially their work life.
Yeah, it's a good feeling when you can get the debts paid off. So how do we start? What's a good thing to do? And the advice today, let me ask you this. The advice today in the book, Master Your Cash Flow, will this still be applicable in 10 years?
Well, it was 30 years ago, it was 10 years ago, and I think it will be 10 years or 20 years from now. The principles in there are really not hard, and they're not really something that's new, whether it's compounding and other things. It's just that we have such a really terrible educational system when it comes to finance in this country that you find people that even though they finish high school or college, and they may even be a physician, a CEO, a business owner, very brave people, they know nothing about finance. So the place to begin is basically tell yourself that maybe you don't know as much and that you need help. And help might be a local financial planner. It might be someone that you feel that has more knowledge than you do. You may start by reading or going on some websites. But the whole thing is to start. Most people don't start. They put it off until their late 40s or early 50s, when 60 is not that far away. I'd like to see people start a lot earlier if they can.
Do you know, we have a lot of people in this listening area that are actually transplants from New York or Michigan or other areas where it was not cheap to live. And so, for example, let's say on Long Island, which is where I'm from, a $500,000 home, they sell their home. They never consider themselves rich, but they buy a house in Ocala, Florida, and it's like an $80,000 home. And suddenly they have so much extra money. It's a new world for them when they come down here. They're living well, and they've got extra cash suddenly.
Well, that's part of planning also. I mean, I'm in the New Jersey area, which, as you point out, is expensive. I was just at a meeting this morning with a client who's considering moving to Florida. And you're not if you're in New York City, you really have clients in Florida, because a lot of people go down there to escape not only taxes up here, but also because living or lifestyle is a lot cheaper. But once you have that extra money, it's like, what do you do with it? That's where, especially if that's new for you, that's where you want to sit down with a professional and make sure that you're making some really good decisions.
The book is called Master Your Cash Flow. Albert Zdenek, Zdenek Jr. Direct us to a website so we can buy the book.
Okay, and so you can find me at www.alzdenek, the D is silent, Alzdenek, ZDENEK.com. If you go there, by the way, there's a free personal financial assessment you can take to see if that helps you out in some of your financial decisions.
All right.
If you want to find out more about the book, you can go on the Amazon site or www.masteryourcashflowbook.com.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, Albert, for being on the show today. Come back with the next one. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back. This is WOCA Ocala.